Grace Auburn family, welcome back to the Grace Auburn Church Podcast. My name is Lee, and it is my gift and privilege to not only serve as executive pastor at Grace Auburn Church, but also as host to the Grace Auburn Podcast. I am joined today by what I think is now a 4-time repeat guest, one Ben Bush. Ben, welcome to the podcast.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me back.
All right. So we've talked about a lot of things on the Grace Auburn podcast. Today, I'm specifically excited to hear more of your heart for this community, for the people of this community, and the ways that you have been involved with the Way to Serve for I don't even know how many years.
Right.
We'll get to that in just a minute. I want to remind everyone that these episodes of the podcast highlighting local partners, ministries in our area, or maybe not even explicit ministries, but organizations in our area where the members of Grace Auburn are actively involved in our community, whether it be on campus or it be in Opelika or it be here in Auburn or wherever it is that you plant your people, you give them the privilege, responsibility to be salt and light in those places. And that is abundantly true about you, my brother. So as we think about the Way to Serve, I want us to both shine a spotlight on the ministry itself, and then I would love for people to hear your journey into serving with Shane and those guys and all that the Lord is doing in our community for the many years that ministry has been around. And then we'll get to the end and invite people in to maybe take a step in terms of how can people get involved, what are the different things that they can do with the Way. And I think that will be a worthy conversation. So with that, tell us about the Way. Tell us about all that it does. I know there's a lot of different arms to it, things that it has going on. Give us a flyover of what they do here in our community.
All right, so let's just talk about like the mission. What does this organization exist for? At its very core, to share the love of Jesus in practical ways. Lots of people on this podcast have talked about James, about faith and works, and those things have to correlate. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I'm starting to think about the Way to Serve and how it interacts with the community, I have to ask myself some why questions. So why do you serve the community through the love of Jesus in practical ways? For why do you do that? Well, to grow long-term relationships. So why are you growing long-term relationships? To unify the body of Christ and show people like Jesus is the way. So that's like the heart of the ministry is practical ways, love of Jesus, long-term relationships. Yeah. And those relationships equal growing of the body. So that's like its mission. Of course, we're coming from John on this one. Like he says, like, I am the way, the truth, and life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. In terms of the Way to Serve, it is like call it an umbrella body. So when you do the Way to Serve, it's how do you want to be involved? It's not prescriptive. It's like, what is God calling and putting your heart on? And then we just find an outlet that fits. There's the branches. So we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. We have the Way to Build, which is probably the most forward-facing, the most visible. Sure. It's community-based. It is home repair, helping our neighbors with projects that they can't do by themselves. We have the Way to Pray, because if you're not coding in prayer, you probably shouldn't be doing it anyway. So prayer goes in front of prayer is the work. It's the thing that must be done in everything. Yeah. And then the third leg is the Way to Grow, which is kind of my personal favorite, the one that I'm most involved in. And between those three, it's how we engage the community.
All right, let's kind of break those down. We'll get to the one you love the most or the one you're most involved with last. And obviously the Way to Pray, a team of people constantly praying that the Lord would use the ministry. Yep. Really, when people think about the Way to Serve, they think about My Jerusalem. Yeah. So the Way to Build, you mentioned. Way to Build. When this podcast airs, we will have actually hosted kind of a launching day for the Way to Serve, My Jerusalem, here at Grace Auburn Church, which will be before we move into Skyway. I think this episode is scheduled to come out after we've moved into Skyway, which we just announced on Sunday. We're recording this in the middle of August. So let's talk about that specifically. What does the Way to Build do? Who is it for? And then we'll get into the other.
Yeah. A lot of the year, it's looking for projects and receiving projects. So Shane Kyles, my mentor Shane Kyles, way back in the day when I met him in college, he was doing what is the job for the city when you code enforcement? There we go.
Yeah.
Appreciate. Sometimes I just look at you and the answers. pop up.
Hey,
I
it just
need that
comes out
prompt.
of me. You don't even know.
So we got all these relationships with people in the community, and you
Yeah.
see like there's need here, and there's nothing wrong with like international missions, but like your neighbor down the road has this very real need, and if you can meet that practical need, like let's go, let's do it. So a lot of the year they are receiving requests of like, hey, I have this condition with my roof, or I have this thing with my deck. Could you consider making this a project? So sometimes it's people reaching out to them, and other times they're just seeing needs in the community and say, hey, listen, we have this organization that we would love to share the love of Jesus in a practical way through this project. So after there's two of them, there's a Spring My Jerusalem and there's a Fall My Jerusalem. And after receiving requests, we start the great challenge of connecting the dots.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I think the biggest three dots that exist are, can we find a church organization that would love to do this work? It's like the way they would love to show Jesus' affection to the community. Then we have the contractor side, because like I'm a great designer of things, but I don't build things according to code, because I'm like, let's do it the creative way, which is not so much structural. It's more than the aesthetic. So like you need someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then you need, it's kind of contractor as well, but you need the resources to be able to make that thing happen. So I think one of the biggest consistent projects is just roof repair. And I'm like, but there's so many other needs. Well, if you don't fix the roof, everything below the roof is not going to go well. So I understand that process. And there's been, at this point, hundreds and hundreds of roofs that have been installed by volunteer organizations through the leadership of someone who does contracting on a weekly basis. And it's not just limited to roofs. Roofs are probably the most popular.
Okay.
But if someone's just like, listen, I just got put into a wheelchair, I just had my lower leg amputated, I need some way to get into my house. Well, we probably need to build you a ramp.
Right.
And so that's a strong number two. And sometimes it's just like plumbing repair. So it's projects that can be done in a day. And you want to do well. You want to serve well. You want to treat people with respect. But like anytime someone says, yes, we're open to these projects, we're like, cool. The gospel is going to come into your house as well.
That's right.
So paired with the contractor, the site leader, we have compassion leader. And their job is to help us build relationships. And it's about the people, not so much the project.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a project person. So like I want to honor them by doing the project well. So somewhere in between being like all project and all gospel is where the way to serve finds its footing in these projects.
I like that. All right, so the way to pray, obviously there's a team of people who are on their faces asking the Lord to make it clear, not only from a discernment standpoint, which are the right projects, but then all along the way as the gospel is being presented alongside of shingles and plumbing and drywall, that's happening simultaneous to that. You mentioned the way to grow.
Yep.
Talk to us about what that is. What is your kind of throughout the year involvement with that side of the ministry?
Man, I love the way to grow. When I got back to Auburn 2017, 2018, I knew that I wanted to be more involved in inner city ministries. It's just something that's always been kind of pulling at my heart. As soon as I arrived to Auburn in, I'll be throwing this back, 2004,
okay,
I realized the population of Auburn did not look like the population that I grew up with.
Sure.
I was like, why is that? And so I kind of felt like my heart was always being pulled to, how do I engage those communities that feel like home to me? So if you're familiar with the Lifeway product of Centrifuge and Infuge, I know we were throwing this back to like
all right, keep going.
90s, right? So this is kind of the origin story. How I got involved with the Way to Serve was we went on these mission trips. I think we were like in South Carolina, and we'd go out into the city. We'd find projects. We'd either like do one-day VBSs or block parties, or we'd fix something. Pretty light work. High school students can do a great job, but then again, they're not professionally trained.
Fair.
And so on these trips, I finally realized like the purpose of the trip isn't, it is also, but the point of it is not just for this 1 week involvement.
Yeah.
You see Jesus in it and you move on.
Yeah.
It's a training ground for you to bring that back home. So once that hit me, I'm like, well, what are we doing back home? Like, pulling from Matthew, you got to love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Ask the question, who's my neighbor? Okay, well, if they're right down the road from me and I'm blind to like what's going on, that's on me. So while that was happening, I came back and I was like doing my freshman year at Auburn. I met Shane Kyles, and he kind of had that same passion. He's like, I see things happen in my community, and I want to make an impact. And so he was still working as a code enforcement professional, but wanting to get into this way to serve lifestyle. So that was the beginning of it, and I would do some graphics for them, and I would be on these projects with them. Then I did my little deal where I moved around the Southeast, and I came back. I'm like, Shane Cowles, I'm back. I want to get involved. He's been an incredible blessing and a mentor in my life that we can just go into like just the depths of mentorship. Like if you're not being mentor somebody, find them out.
Yeah.
And if you're not mentoring somebody, find that person. It's just been so good to have somebody I can trust. And like I've seen him walk out his faith over a decade now. And I go, that's the dude. Without a doubt, that's the dude. It's not that we don't struggle, but
Sure.
he has he's put feet to what the gospel says. And I trust that man. So it's really, it's a joy to be on his advisory council.
Okay.
Which I kind of provide.
That sounds real fancy.
It sounds fancy. It's not all that fancy.
Well, but it kind of is.
Like when you have a nonprofit, you have to have a leadership or advisory board. So now I serve in that capacity, and I lend my more like design front. Like how do we do things more cleverly? What technology do we incorporate? So that's what I do from an adult version.
But let's be honest. The Lord has uniquely wired you, gifted you in such a way that you think different about most things.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate y'all working with me on that.
Well, for Shane to be, I think he would. I think if he were sitting here, he would say that he knows what he has in you, because in surrounding himself with a bunch of people who can do the work as contractors, you're going to get a specific kind of guy sitting at the table across the board, right?
Yeah.
Stereotype for sure, but to bring you into those conversations, who's constantly thinking, Lord, how can we improve this? How can we be more creative on this? How can we communicate something that is timeless, the gospel, in a way that is fresh, new, and still faithful to the message?
Yeah.
I think from the work you do with Grace Kids to leading your community group to now you and Holly stepping into the role of deacons here at Grace Auburn Church, asking the question over and over, how can we continue to love and serve the people of the church or the people in the community, both the church inwardly, caring for one another's needs, the church facing out, looking at the needs of our community. So to have you on it as advisory council, I can think of no better person to have added it to that team. Specifically, obviously, you're giving counsel to the direction of the entire ministry. Right. Let's walk through some nuts and bolts to what does the way to grow actually look like in terms of throughout the year. Obviously, it's relationship heavy.
Yep.
Give us some specifics.
So, like 3 different arms within that. We have Real Talk, which is very much the same thing we do, meeting with small groups on a weekly basis, going through scripture, talking about life, being as authentic and transparent as possible. There's a women's form of that. There's a men's form of that.
Yeah.
And I'm in, we'll call it the Way to Grow / Grow Academy, when we are involved with maybe like 4th grade all the way up through 12th grade.
Okay.
So we love kids. We want to get invested in kids' life. When they come to us on Wednesday afternoons, we're going to shoot some pool. We're going to play some video games. We're going to play some ball outside. My jump shot has improved very much.
I believe it.
Because I got embarrassed.
Necessity.
Yes, by necessity. Yes. I haven't improved my jump shot. So we're doing life with kids, but at the same time, it's the core mission of the Way to Serve is like, how can I meet you with practical needs and how can I serve you with spiritual needs? So back to the creative problem solving, one of the biggest branches of the Way to Serve is the building, right? So you have all this leftover timber from making decks. Fantastic. We store it. And I asked Shane, hey, you mind if I teach some carpentry in this class?
Come on.
He's like, absolutely. How much wood do you need? I'm like, all the wood. I need all of it.
Everything that's left over.
So, like making programming during the year.
Yeah.
We're talking about finances. We're talking about how to stay out of trouble, how to make good decisions, and like how the gospel is worked into all those things. So it's not one or two. It is both the entire time. With the furniture, my goal was everyone has this God-given ability to be creative, and some people I don't have any creativity. I'm pretty sure you do, right?
Okay.
We're as kids, they're incredibly creative, and you kind of get trained out of it. And so I just wanted to show these kids, give them a loose format, like these are the wood pieces that we need. This is how we're going to put it together structurally. But all the design decisions, all the scripture you put on it, all the decorations, that's on you. So give them a platform to work from, and it's something they can bring home.
Okay.
It's like maybe a 1.5 by 3 foot bench. So I would call it a love seat of sorts.
Yeah.
So really great for like one-on-one conversations with a friend. So that was a a real joy.
I love
to be able
that.
to bring some of my vocational skills
Yeah.
to show kids like, hey, all you need is a little bit of resources,
Yeah.
a little bit of leftovers, and how you can be creative with those leftovers. Another thing I really enjoy is the guys that I coach with. So we have 4 coaches. We've got myself. We've got Joseph Murray, who is the leader of the Way to Grow, sets curriculum, gives us vision. Like we give talks, but he's the one who sets up
Okay.
what we're talking about or what
Okay.
we're focusing in terms of content over a semester. We've got Coach MacArthur and his wife, Coach C. And between all of us, we're trying to, how do we impact these kids? But probably more importantly than just the kids, how do we integrate their families into this? This is something that we're still wrestling with. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, sure.
If you ask any coach of a sports team, what's the hardest part of coaching?
Yep.
Parents.
Parents.
And not that like, the parents are essential, right? No parents, no families, you ain't got no kids.
For sure.
So while we're living on the kids, we decided if we're going to be more impactful, we've got to start incorporating these parents and asking them not only the kids' needs, how are they doing academically, how are they growing, are they being respectful at home, but also what do you need?
Yeah.
Because we can take care of the parents and the kids. We can change families. We
Sure.
can change the community.
Yeah.
So it's starting to open up the vision on how do we create a bigger impact and how do we love families and not just their kids.
Okay. All right. I love that. All right. So that's kind of a big picture umbrella, so to speak, of the organization. Shane's been doing this for a while now. You've been involved since moving back here. You were involved in college. You did your tour of the Southeast, as you said. And the Lord brought you guys back here. And you've been deeply involved here from the very jump. You've been deeply involved in the community. You're obviously involved on campus as a professor at the university. Are there any, I think before we get into the practical, how people can get involved, maybe you've shared some of these stories already, but like your jump shot improving or building furniture, is there and you don't necessarily have to say the person's name, but is there a person that comes to mind where when you think of, oh, it's worth it? Like the work of investment, the story, like what is the story that if you had just a few minutes to share a story of life change and impact that the Lord had done, and maybe you would have a hard time nailing this down, I don't know, but is there someone that comes to mind or a story that comes to mind when you think of this typifies the way to serve? This is when I think about what we're doing, when I think about the way to grow, when I think about the way to build or the way to pray, and all those things kind of coming together, but pointing back to the way, who is Jesus. Is there a story that comes to mind for you?
Ooh, there's like 3 stories that flood back into my mind. When we were doing a roof repair for a lady up in Salem, and like by the 3rd or 4th time coming back to her house, she's like, "What are y'all doing this for?" I'm like, "Because we love Jesus."
Yeah.
Like, "I gonna pay for this?" I'm like, no, like it's all taken care of. We're using this as an opportunity to show you how much that Jesus loves us and how much because He's loved us, we can love you.
Yeah.
That's the one that jumps to my mind.
That's good.
I've been involved with the Way to Grow since I think 2018. So the kids who were kids then are now like young men.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna use JT as an example. Man, just a smiley, happy kid, terrible jump shot. His brother Man has a beautiful jump shot. And so I've got to see these 2 brothers interact with one another and like grow from kids into young men. And like now that my girls are about the age that they were when they started, we were having a challenging conversation, and JT was in the room at the moment, and we're like, we got to talk about this, the impact of gangs. And it's like bad company corrupts good character. And so we got to be very thoughtful about who you're spending time with and who you're listening to and you're influenced by, because we're always going to be influenced by somebody. Like we are hardwired to worship things. Just make sure your directions. And so JT's on the other side of the table, and I see him kind of cracking up. And I'm like, actually, I know what's going on here. It's not that he's trying to be funny. It's just like when he gets stressed, he's going to start getting giggly. And I kind of explained to him, like, because I've known you for so long, I can speak honestly. You know, like, I'm here for the best of you and to bring out the best. And JT, I see you're giggling. I don't think you're giggling because I think you're fun. You think that it's funny. You're giggling because you're stressed out by this. And just using it as an adult coaching moment of, yes, be authentically you, but understand in certain situations, it can be read as this. So because we put in the time up for so many years, I can just have an instant hard conversation with him, and it knows that it's coming from a loving place. And the hardest part of gaining that trust is consistency. you just can't like jump into somebody's life for 2 weeks or
No.
2 months and then back out.
Yeah.
It's been every Wednesday for the past 7 years,
Yeah.
8 years,
Yeah.
to the point where I've earned the respect where I can just speak honest to him like that, and getting excited for Madman to graduate and see what his next part of life. I got him wrangled to a design camp that I do over the summer.
Okay.
He's got great ability. We don't know exactly if it's going to be design, but he's so incredibly sharp that we got to find some way for him to take his. I don't want to call him a savant.
Okay.
I'm not going to put that strong of a terminology
Okay.
on him.
Okay.
But he's got a different gear that other people don't have. And so just being involved to the point where like I can say to him, I see this in you.
Yeah.
And we got to do something with it because it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't come every single day.
Yeah, that's good.
So just I'm excited about the next year of growth as they turn into upperclassmen
Yes.
and graduates from high school.
Yes, I love that. Well, I think the constancy you've shown in their lives is what I expect and have come to expect from you. Your constancy here, your constancy with this church, your faithfulness to Jesus, and it being evidenced in the way the Lord is using you and your gifts with the way to grow. I want to remember though that there are people who are listening to this podcast who have not taken any yet steps.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not the way to serve, grow, build, or anything. Maybe there's something else that's on their heart. Let's think about that person for a minute of like, I just don't know that I have anything to offer. Like somebody maybe, or maybe I just don't know that I have time, or I think I'm just too busy, or whether it's an excuse or reality or fear, and somewhere maybe even a mashup of all of those things. I want to think for just a minute about the average member of Grace Auburn Church that's asking, how can I be more involved?
Yeah.
What difference can I make? What encouragement might you give that person, that brother or sister, if they were sitting right here with me and you?
Man, that's a great question. I would say that the first thing you got to realize, like if God's tugging at your heart to do something, like don't mourn the spirit, like sit in that.
That's
really
good.
question God, like why is this on my heart?
Yeah.
So after that, like there's so many ways you can be involved, and even like I get to this point a lot, I ain't got time for it.
Yeah.
You say that,
Uh-huh.
but I'm looking at my screen time, and I'm spending more time on that screen than I am with people. Someone might get checked, like what
Yeah, sure.
Jeff was saying like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Uh-huh. His was about crossword puzzles.
Hey,
But conviction from the
to
Lord,
each
right?
their own, man.
Conviction from the Lord.
Conviction. So understand, like it's not so much that you don't have time. It's you need to make a decision on let's be intentional with this.
Yeah, that's good.
Give it 15, 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
And if it's service projects, there's avenues for service projects. If you feel a longing to like, I really want to grow in prayer, man, we will part you up with someone who's like a straight up prayer warrior. 87-year-old Gertrude, right? She has a direct line. She got a landline to heaven.
That's good.
I was like, whatever you have, like kind of widow's mite situation, just consistently give that, and then check after a while.
Yeah.
But it's been a joy to be involved in someone else's life that comes from a different perspective, wears a different skin color, thinks about things differently than I do.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can say I've been incredibly blessed. I love getting to work with MJ and Joseph Murray, because the way that they hear scripture and the background of gospel preaching they've had in their life is different than mine. And so like our conversations are so much more rich now
That's good.
because we're in each other's life.
Yeah.
So it's not too different than the mission of Grace Auburn. Like
Yeah.
we want to be honest and transparent with people,
Yeah.
and you have to commit time to do that.
Yeah.
So pick something, dig deep. You're probably, I'm not saying it's all gonna be easy,
No,
right?
no.
But I will say it's all gonna be worth it.
That's good. Well, man, we will, as we think about the way as a ministry here in town, the way to serve, we'll obviously link in the show notes to the website, ways people can get involved. Obviously, they can find you on a Sunday morning or throughout the week if they'd like to ask more questions. You have any final thoughts, anything you want to land us with in terms of the ministry as a whole, anything that you want to share other than what you already have, which has been gold, by the way?
Appreciate.
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
the way to serve.
Yeah.
The letters, the way, the number 2.
Okay.
The number 2 is pretty important. Serve, Instagram,
Okay.
website.
Yeah.
Thing that I've really enjoyed doing is me and my boy Jesse Teal, all the way back at the beginning, right? It's like if he's in a spot, I want to be that same spot. So we were running 2 different small groups.
Yep.
And like, how do we get together? We both feel burdened to like, if there's a problem in your neighborhood, if your neighbor has a problem, go address the problem. And so we've used Spring My Jerusalem and Fall My Jerusalem as intentional points to get our groups together on a service project.
Yeah.
So if you say to yourself, man, I miss that person. We used to be in groups together, and because of the growth of the church, we're not in the same group. This is your opportunity. Get together, collab on a project. You can get to see your friends, and you get to show the love of Jesus to people in your community.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, brother. This has been fun.
My pleasure.
On behalf of the Grace Auburn Church family, thank you for listening to the Grace Auburn Church podcast. If you'd like more information about partnering with us and our mission or ways that you can get connected, please go to our website, graceauburn.church.